Hello guys, welcome to the next video on Maven tutorial for beginners. In this video we will learn about scope, which is one more interesting and important concept in dependency management. So let's get started. So in the previous videos we have seen how to add dependencies in our pom.xml file. Let's say we have this dependency JUnit which we have added for our tests, and we want that this dependency will only be related to our test and not to our source file, because JUnit we are not going to use probably in our source code. So we want to limit the scope of this JUnit up to the level of scope. So what we can do is, just below the version you can add one more element here, and then you can say scope. Okay, so just write scope, and inside the scope you can just write test here. And this basically means is that this JUnit is only limited to our test source file and not to the compile source files, right? So in a way we are limiting the scope of our JUnit dependency up to only our test. Now there are different kind of scopes which are possible in dependency management. So this is one kind of scope, which is test. Then there is one more kind of scope, which is for example compile, and compile is the default scope. So if you don't define any scope, by default it's compile. So compile is available in your source code also, and in the test files also, or any other files also. Now there is one more scope called runtime, and this means is that this JUnit will only available at the runtime. So this scope indicates that the dependency is not required for the compilation, but it is required for the execution of the jar file, for example. So this jar file will be present in the runtime and test class path, but not in compile class paths. Okay, so this is how you use runtime scope. Now there is one more type of scope which is called provided. Okay, and this provided scope is much like compile, but it indicates that you expect the JDK or a container to provide the dependency at runtime. For example, when building a web application for Java EE, you would set the dependency on the servlet API, and the related Java EE API to scope provided, because the web container provides those classes, right? So this scope is only available on the compilation and test class path, but it's not available in transitive. Okay, so this is how you can use scope in dependency management. These scopes like runtime and other scopes are important when you want to create an API which has an interface and the implementation. So basically when a developer develops an application, he wants to segregate his API in two different segments. One is the interface and other is the implementation, and this is done because the implementation, if the developer wants to change at any time, he can change it, and he don't need to change the interface, and also the vice versa is also possible easily. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and bye for now.